What's up, Juventina? Welcome back to the AJC, your channel dedicated to Juventus. Another victory show, 2 back-to-back. Okay, let's make this a habit going down the rest of the stretch of the season. But 2-1 victory against Cagliari. Yildiz saves Juve. Is that an issue? Is that a red flag? Or doing his job? We're going to take a look at everything around this matchup. We're going to look ahead to what the week holds for Juve with a Coppa Italia tie. And then, of course, the return to the Maradona for Luciano Spalletti, and a big one there for Juventus. We're going to tackle the headlines coming out of today that have to do with an injury suffered to Dusan Vlahovic. We're going to get to it all right now. And I've got Cliff, I've got Paolo with me. Fellas, how you doing? Let's start with Paolo. How you doing this morning, brother?
I'm doing great, thank you. Good morning, good day, good evening to everyone out there. Another win and the Yildiz brace. So I'm feeling pretty fantastic.
There you go. There you go. And Cliff, how you doing, brother?
Fantastic. We got a win. We're in good spirits. I think this is going to be a very good stream today. We have a lot of good things to talk about.
We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun here. What's up to everybody in the chat? I see you here all excited for this show, another victory show. We're going to have a lot of fun. There's a lot of interesting topics coming out of that game. And yeah, we're not going to waste much time. Forza Juve, Eric. Wing of Winter saying my voice is echoing, but everything's the same. So I haven't changed anything, so might be something on your end. Oi boy in there. We've got David Tamsian. Great to see you in here. And Skippy, of course, saying ciao, guys. Each win, no matter how, is a step in the right direction, giving them confidence and momentum. So there you go. I do agree. It's just about getting those results for now, until turning the screws on some of the things that we need to improve. But we're going to take a look at everything. First up, thank you to everybody who was part of that watch along yesterday. I had a little blip there where I accidentally shut it off, hit the wrong button. It killed the stream. Had to get it going again, and then we ended up having a beauty of a live watch along. We also gave a kit away. Congrats again to Jammers Bianconeri winning the 15-16 throwback Paulo Dybala kit. All right, so he has reached out to us. We've got the information, and we will be sending out that kit. And later on this upcoming week, we give away the other 2 kits, the 12-13 black Pirlo kit, and then this year's home Yildiz kit, with Yildiz the man of the match coming out of yesterday's game. Let's waste no time. Let's get to tackling this game. We're going to blow through the starting 11 and get through the highlights, and then we'll get these guys' takes on this match. Perin, Kalulu, Kelly, Cope Miners at the back there. So Perin getting the nod in a consecutive match. McKennie, Locatelli, Thuram, and Kostic across the middle. Conceição, Yildiz, Vlahovic rounded out in the attack. Real quick, without getting into their performances or anything, what did you think of that starting 11 when you saw it? Let's get with Paolo first here.
I was glad to see Perin in there, only because, and I'm not a fan of his, but only because his feet are good. And I think he keeps things moving through the back. He steps up. He moves the ball with his feet well, so... and Kostic again.
Yeah. And Cliff, real quick, your thoughts on that starting 11?
Honestly, no real issues. Perin, they're going to give him a couple starts here and there. It's against Cagliari, so that makes sense to me. Still no Miretti, which is kind of an odd one. I have a feeling they're saving him for Udinese for midweek for the Coppa Italia. Hopefully he gets that opportunity. But other than that, no real issues with the starting 11.
Yeah, it was, I didn't really have any huge issues with the starting 11, but I would have maybe liked to see us work out an alternative. I talked about the game plan, just figured that we were going to see a team that parks it, at least has that 5-man at the back, and maybe you can shift away from one of the defenders to facilitate having a 3-man midfield so Miretti could operate there with Thuram and Locatelli. Outside of that, I didn't really have an issue with it, and we still fielded a team that should be able to get the job done against that Cagliari side. So ultimately, no major issues there. We get to the highlights. Yeah, it's a little bit of a strange start to this game. I mean, Juve kind of on the ball a lot, still looking like they were going to try to look for their lanes or ways to kind of attack Cagliari, but Cagliari was pretty much coming back at us. They were having their fair share of the ball early on, and Palestra, it seemed like they were going to go through Palestra, and that was the flank that they were going to attack to. 22nd minute, he's running at us and actually forces a shot that forces a block out of Cope Miners on that one that actually sails high over Pedin's goal. And yeah, he was just kind of probing there for that team. And in the 25th minute, he actually beats Kostic, who makes a very poor decision on how he's going to trap that ball. He ends up flat-footing himself. And if there's one thing Palestra has, who's a player that's been linked with Juve since last summer, by the way, it's pace. And he pounces on that ball. He runs back at us. Now, I got a real problem with the goals that we continue to allow, and I have a problem with this goal. So many things with this goal, but he brings it down to the byline. He centers it out, and then Esposito is there to barely put it home, as a sliding challenge from Locatelli just isn't enough to stop it. And like, when you look at this goal, it's infuriating to me. Infuriating. Kostic's read there to stop that ball there in that place rather than, maybe block out Palestra, move back, and then just simply move forward. It's fine. But you know what? You made that call. You lost it. That's okay. You have a hand on Palestra, though. Just take the foul. Just take the foul. Slow it down. I think you could have got away with maybe making it look like you're still challenging in there to not even get a yellow on it. But shut it down. And still, let's say he keeps going. He doesn't want to take the foul, or he doesn't want to that's fine. You then have 2 players in the area with 4 Juve guys. How is there a free player? How is there a pass for Palestra to even hit somebody? It's terrible. And in the end, Locatelli's the 5th guy coming back, trying to slide in front of there, when the first 4 should have had that guy with nothing to go to. Guys, I hate this goal conceded. I hate this goal that we allowed. What are you guys' thoughts on that goal that we conceded, Cliff?
I was going to say, like, a cutback goal is just never acceptable. It's just way too easy, the way Palestra got in there and just got the ball to Esposito. You can never let that happen, especially when you have those amount of numbers in the box. You had way too many players to allow that to get through there. Like you said, like, when he's progressing past you, take the foul, stop the play, hold it up. Don't let him get to that point where he can play the cutback and get an easy tap in. So it's those like, if somebody scores a worldie from outside the box, okay, fair play. But it's when it's that easy, you can't be conceding goals like that, especially against Cagliari.
Yeah. And Paolo, your thoughts on that one conceded?
I at first glance, I thought Locatelli got another goal, but I think to your point, Cliff, you can't concede that way. You can't allow those opportunities. But unfortunately, I think Kostic is a challenging player. Either way he's headed, and if you're Spalletti, you're putting extra risk by having guys like that being relied on. So,
yeah, it was infuriating. It's infuriating because it's another avoidable goal, and it's infuriating because the possession that we had up until that point was pretty meaningless, and it was infuriating that we needed a slap in the face to kind of wake up. But nonetheless, wake up. We did. 26th minute, pretty much right after. Hey, not the prettiest play, but it worked out. Ball sent forward. There's kind of an outstretched tip that goes in front of Thuram. Thuram drives to the area, and then this thing starts bouncing around in the area. In comes Kenan Yildiz. Central, in and around the area. Imagine that. And he just lashed onto this thing. Does take a deflection from a defender trying to make the block, but it still just flies into that low bottom corner beyond Caprile's reach. So we're back level. Great. We've erased an infuriating goal. Take it to them. All right. We start playing better that half. Okay. Start moving with a little bit more purpose. Still trying to create something good. 45th minute. Great flick on by McKennie. Got to be said. Great flick on by McKennie. Kalulu is the one making the run forward. And based on what was happening prior to this sequence, we're thinking, oh God, here we go. Here we go. Here's the roller coaster. But all he does is slide it over to Yildiz. Yildiz carries it into that space in the area. Again, coming from a central role in and around the area. And he just finishes this one left-footed, far post. Beautiful stuff. 2-1. That's how you want to end the half. 2-1 lead. Let's go. We're talking about some changes. There were some rumblings about some adjustments that Spalletti would make. I felt like if you were going to do anything, that was the time to maybe try something in a different setup to try and kill the game and get three midfielders in. I wasn't thinking pull Thuram out. I still want to see Miretti with those guys ahead, but ultimately you should be killing this game off. Cagliari didn't do anything spectacular. If you fast forward to the second half, 46 minute, this game should have been killed. By the way, in the first half, we have the injury to Dusan Vlahovic that didn't look pretty. That was on a shot. He looked like he was doing good too. We talked about that mutt not being there, Yarimina, and Vlahovic looked lively. He looked strong in the hold-up. He was peeling off his defender and making runs. This was just a shot from the outside. He muffed, and that was it. He couldn't continue. Looked in a ton of pain. He had sports hernia issues a year removed. And yeah, we'll see. We're waiting. By the way, that's pretty much the main headline right now. He might be out 5 to 6 weeks. So we'll talk about that in the follow-up. David, come on. In the 46th minute, he sends Chico free and clear. This game's got to be killed there. Got to be killed there. In the end, between his touches on the run and he pretty much ran himself, didn't get a touch that's strong enough, overran it, and then had to wait for this ball to come out and pop out of his feet, and it never did. And then he got a weak shot off, and Caprile makes a save. Got to be better there. That game's got to be killed right there. That's got to be the third goal. 52nd minute. Chico beats his man. And then a feed finds itself deflected to Cope Miners, who decides to fool everybody and go short side. Great. But just misses the goal. I really wanted that one for Cope Miners. I think it'd be a nice cap over these past few matches where he's been playing at left center back, actually looking comfortable and doing a lot of good things for this team. He also was making very nice overlapping runs from the left center back position in this game in the first half, and looking for his teammates when he gets higher up and gets the ball delivered to him. 58th minute, Cagliari gets behind us, making a run from the left flank, taking a rip, and Perin has to make a stop here. And we're thinking, man, you let this team linger in here. One mistake, and this thing could be equalized again, would be a disaster. Take this game, finish it. 76th minute, Conceição, top of the area. Shot weak, right at Caprile. He had another one-time opportunity, and he put this one just over the goal. That one's got to be slotted in. So Chico really should have had at least one that killed the game here. Cope Miners probably should have finished off that one. Cambiaso had another great opportunity, good shooting position, and he soared that thing to the moon. 87th minute, Cagliari rips again down the left flank, and this guy had a lot of pace. He's beating Kalulu down that side. In the end, Kalulu does get a piece of the shot, trying to block it. It falls to Perin. The game pretty much ends there. There's nothing else out of it. It's a 2-1 victory. And again, a lot of mixed feelings. Are we gaining momentum? It is a couple wins consecutively. Or is it Yildiz saves the day and we still have red flags? Here we go, everybody. Let's get into it. We're going to tackle the stats. I'm going to give you the ratings, and then I want to hear your guys' breakdowns, thoughts on this game, and then we'll get to all the topics in the follow-up. But as far as this game went, statistically speaking, Juve finishes with 57% of the ball. 2 big chances created on 14 total attempts. Cagliari was left with 1 big chance and 5 total attempts. When you want to look at the ratings coming out of this game, we'll pull it up right here. And you've got Perin at 6.7. Kalulu, 6.7 with the assist. Kelly, 7.2. Cope Miners, 6.9. McKennie at a 6.8. Loca, 8.1. Thuram, 7.2. Kostic, a 6. Conceição, 7.4. Yildiz, 9.1. Was the official man of the match, and then Vlahovic 6.4, but an early exit. So those are your ratings. Fellas, what's your take on this game? What's your feelings after it? Is it just simply a Yildiz saves the day game? Or, do we have things to build on? How'd you feel at the end of the 90? We'll start with Cliff, then get to Paulo.
I think looking at the player ratings and just watching the match, you could see that the players looked, for the most part, more comfortable. I think most of the players played fairly well. Obviously, Yildiz came to save the day. That's obviously a headline that's in this match. But I think overall, a win's a win. This is 2 wins in a row. This is good momentum going forward, albeit against, with all due respect, Bodo Glimt and Cagliari. But it's some momentum that we can keep carrying forward into this Udinese match midweek for the Coppa Italia. But I think for me, it's a good team win. Could have been a much bigger margin of victory. Could have been a 4-1, 3-1 victory. It should have been. But I do think there are some really good signs going forward. I think Thuram looked a little bit better. I know we've kind of been dogging him the last couple of matches. He looked a little bit more spry. I think McKennie, obviously, the haters are real quiet on McKennie. I haven't heard anybody chirping about McKennie this weekend. So I think he did well. He has his moments. I think the only really big disappointment is Vlahovic being out, because that's a huge piece to be missing for the next 2 months, potentially going forward.
All right. There's a few things we'll probably have to tackle in there when we get out of it. But let's get Paulo's takes here. At the 90, Paulo, your thoughts?
Glad for the 3 points. Mixed bag of occurrences during that game. Perin is, if you're going to go 3 at the back and you have Perin using his feet the way he does, I've kind of said that a couple of times, but he's really good at moving the ball confidently. He walks high up to the top of his box. He distributes. I think starting Kostic was a bit of an issue. If he's really better than Cambiaso at that left side, or you're trying to teach Cambiaso a lesson or something, I think there's a risk involved. Thuram a bit better. Yildiz was fantastic. Second half was a bit strange. Too bad about Dusan and Openda and David. Not sure about how that really worked out. That was a bit rough. Glad Spalletti made a change at halftime, because I was not confident or happy that Kostic was the best idea there. He probably could have brought Conceição out a little earlier, who was missing everything. But I'm glad we got the 2 points. The 3 points, but it's rough. It's good and bad, and it's, again, another mixed performance of positives and negatives. So if we get one thing right, we seem to get something else wrong. Someone's doing well, the other folks are struggling. Coach makes a good decision. Coach sometimes maybe waits too long for a sub. So mixed bag, but I'm so happy to have the 3 points we desperately need.
You always got to be happy for a win. Obviously, you want to be winning. That's the first thing that matters. First and foremost, it's a win. So obviously, yeah, we're happy for that. You got to win. If you're looking at the game, it's the same feelings really out of the Bodo Glimt matchup. I think there's some things you have to carry forward with if you're Spalletti, and I think they came to light in this game. There's still some team deficiencies that are preventing me from really jumping on individuals and players. I don't think you can treat this team, and I've said this even with Tudor, I don't think you could treat this team as a one-for-one style team. It just isn't really built that way. And the players and their traits and abilities, you really got to hone in on that and understand that if you're coaching this team right now. And the prime example is taking off Vlahovic when he's injured and David entering that game and the way things were being played. Because, like, I don't know, I just see so many things that come out of this game that for me have a little more to do with the planning and what we're doing. For instance, Yildiz succeeds and has a great first half, bagging 2 goals. His positioning from first half to second half, night and day. He's never going to get a chance to kill off and get a hat trick in that second half, because now all of a sudden second half, he isn't occupying the space he was in the first half. And then you get Miretti coming on. Miretti again shows exactly what this team is missing to make things click a little bit smoother and a little bit better in the final third. I find it funny. There was a lot of people challenging me on it and saying, I don't see what you're seeing. I don't get what you think he's doing that the others aren't doing. Well, just take a look at Thuram leaving and Miretti coming on. That's still only 2 midfielders. I believe that the same thing I was saying for Tudor stands right now for Spalletti, that this team has to have 3 midfielders in there kind of at all times for proper balance. But even in just a 2 midfielder set, Miretti took the opportunity to still get way forward. There was nothing preventing Thuram from doing what Miretti was doing. It's just the simple fact that Miretti plays the game a certain way, a certain style. Take the name out of the equation. I don't even give a shit that it's Miretti. I'd be happy with anybody that was there doing that. But the fact of the matter, it's the little tiny things. The fact that when he takes a touch, it always sets himself up to look forward. That's number 1. Because predominantly we go to the outsides. These guys, it takes everything in their power just to fucking touch the ball without giving it up. Or a touch that's too heavy. Just simply having one guy that can take a touch that leads him looking up the pitch. It's something so stupid and minuscule like that should be a given. That unfortunately isn't with a lot of other guys. He doesn't have to do anything special. He's just doing little things that are right. When you look at David, when he entered the game, horrible. Too many giveaways. But if you look at David and you look for people that didn't follow David or don't know what his game's about, he doesn't have a long passing range. So he feeds off these short little passing plays, these 1-2s. Chico missed him on a great little build-up between Miretti, David, and then to Chico, and David peels off his man. Chico blows that thing through the end line. If he puts that in his pace, he's got a free shot on goal in a great spot, probably 12 yards out, just slightly off left. But Chico blows that thing through the end line. David looked different and better because Miretti was also closer to all those guys. They all looked better. Chico even got involved even more when Miretti got in there. Yildiz faded in the second half, needed a little bit more. Whatever, he stuck to that sideline again. I need him centrally as well. There's a few things that still come out of this game that we need to build off of. But I think Spalletti's seeing the signs. And we're going to get to that. And we're going to ask the key questions coming out of this game. But first, man of the match, we saw the ratings there. Yildiz won it officially. Does anybody else get it than Yildiz? Fellas.
No, nobody sniffs it. I mean, the way he scored those 2 goals kept us in that game.
Yildiz
and won that game.
Yeah. Now, speaking about player performances, Palestra, there was a lot of fans calling him a mutt. I don't want him at Juve. I don't like this. So he's been a target. Guys, I got to ask you about Palestra. What did you think about Palestra's performance? Does he intrigue you as a target?
He cooked our ass. But I will say he doesn't intrigue me because I think we have so many wingers right now in the mix right now. We have obviously Yildiz, we have Conceição, we have I think Openda, who could play a winger position, although we're playing him as a striker. We have Zigorova. he's cool. He's a cool player, but it's like, do we need to add another winger? Is that really the key to Juve's success right now? I don't think so. But he definitely cooked our ass. That's
Well,
for
he's a
sure.
fullback. So
Well,
he's
he
playing
looked like a
wing back in a
he looked like a
3-5-2.
winger to me. The way he was playing, he looked
Well, he's
like he was
playing
a
a wing
winger.
back, but he's a fullback. He's a fullback player.
Got you. Yeah,
So
I mean,
that's why he's
he was-
targeted by Juve. That's why he's been linked with Juve for a while. But Paolo, what'd you think of Palestra?
He was dangerous, but for us, I think we have now that we got Zagrova and other people on that, we got a crowded right side, so we probably need folks for the left side. But he's a dangerous player, and if we would have gotten him instead of a couple of other people, or if we can move a couple of people and get him, that's an interesting option. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Palestra. I mean, it's funny, the fact that more fans were bitching and complaining about him through the watch along actually made me like him a little bit more. Like with each complaint, they're like, "This guy's a mutt. I can't stand it," and I'm like, man, it's making me like him, because if he's attracting this kind of attention from our fan base, if he's rattling our guys, like, yeah, I'd want him like on the side rattling the other team fans and just rattling the players. Like, he was a handful. He's got pace. He worked hard. I mean, technically, we didn't get to see a lot from him. Like, in terms, like, his crosses were okay. Yeah, we didn't see anything extravagant, but I did like his willingness to like take a step and shoot. So like he was sending a lot of crosses right-footed. I believe he's right foot dominant, but he wasted no time when he had the opportunity cutting to his left and taking a shot left-footed that forced Co-Miners to slide out and take a block. So it's like, okay, I think there's an interesting player there, and I'd be intrigued to probably, and I probably will, follow him a little closer now after what I saw. That's probably all I'm going to say. I'm not going to make any bold calls or anything like, yeah, we need to get him. I think there's an interesting player there that should be followed. Now, we're going to get to some of these takeaways out of this game, okay? So, basically, first off, did Yildiz save Juve? Is that a problem? So, do you feel Yildiz saved Juve? Is that the main storyline of this game? And is it an issue for you? So first off, Paolo, did Yildiz save Juve?
I think he did, and the reason I think he did is because he found himself at the top of the box in the middle, which is a place I'm so thrilled to see him active. Two great finishes, and especially a reaction after a goal where he's able to tie it up. And we have a lot of guys who aren't finishing, who aren't scoring, who are making mistakes, who are not living up to it, or having a good game and a bad game. So you need him to save us because no one else is. And I think by default, that means he is saving us because we don't have other guys finishing. And some guys aren't even hitting the net when they have a really good opportunity. So yeah, he is saving us. Without him, we're losing games.
Okay. And Cliff, you feel that way? Did Yildiz save Juve in this one?
Yeah, also shout out Trim in the chat. Go like and subscribe to the channel. That's our boy over there. We got to get on a show together, Trim. To this question, I think he saved Juve. I think Paolo makes a great point that I think because he's the only one who kind of took it upon himself to step up, especially after that goal, stepped up as I always forget what age he is, 20. I think 20 years old. Stepping up in that moment, getting those two goals for us to win this match, I think is the definition of saving us because nobody else took it upon themselves to really, like you said, close out that game. So I think he did save us in this instance.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, like, is it a problem? Because they're just like, it's one of the main takeaways that a lot of fans have is just like, well, Yildiz saved us in this game. I'm not really happy with the performance, whatnot. I don't know if I'm necessarily not really happy with the performance. I'm not happy with the finishing. I'm not really happy with the closing out in the final third. Outside of that, I don't know if I take away too many issues out of this game, and I don't know if I feel like Juve didn't deserve a victory. If I'm talking about an issue, like Yildiz is kind of doing his job there, like bagging those goals. Like we want him there. We want him in that position, and we want him to score goals. the other guys that need to score, and Chico in those circumstances, they weren't. He wasn't. Chico had he had the best opportunities to kill that game after that, and he didn't do his job. I don't know if I necessarily see a problem with the team. It's not a real problem. The problem is finishing. And there have been moments in this season where even Kenan has been victim to that. You know, like everybody's kind of got blood on their hands when you talk about Juve's finishing this season. So maybe we don't make videos this week with content creators about what they like on Thanksgiving dinner and make a little song about it, and maybe they go hit the pitch and learn how to finish. All right? So yeah, you're shooting until you guys puke. Like, let's go. Figure it out. Yildiz, though, we got to talk about this. Boys, I almost couldn't believe it, okay? The K mask? If I'm going to say one thing about Kenan Yildiz, you got to figure out the cellies are weak, bro. Dude, he's got to
I'll tell you what, he wants to be Dybala so bad. Dude,
with the
mask,
K
Celly.
mask? And the Spider-Man thing, like...
I like the Spider-Man. I think the Spider-Man thing should be his Celly.
No. I don't like the celebrations. The K mask, guys, if you got to rate it out of a 10, what are you giving the K mask? Chat, what are you giving the K mask?
It's a 5. It's not great.
It's generous. Paulo, 1 out of 10, K mask. You like it?
I don't care. 6.5, 7. It doesn't matter. I mean, he can do whatever he wants.
No, I don't like.
He can do whatever he wants.
He needs a better Celly. He needs a better Celly.
Right?
I don't even like the Spider-Man Celly. Tuna enjoys the Spider-Man Celly.
I love the Spider-Man Celly. I mean, he's young. Let him enjoy himself. I think that's a fun Celly.
Oh, he can enjoy himself. He can do whatever the hell he wants, but it doesn't mean I have to like it. I don't have to like the Celly. I don't like the Celly. Mm-hmm. He needs a better Celly.
Okay.
He needs a better Celly.
What would you tell Kenan to sell? What would you tell his Celly to be? What do you think it should be?
I don't know, man. I don't even know the guy. I don't know. The K-mask sucks. I don't really like the Spider-Man. The tongue out was Del Piero's thing, so I actually agree with him trying to find something that's his own. So I'm down with that. I like that. I just don't think he's landed on it yet. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not digging the K-mask, though.
You should do a spinning backflip. That should be.
Does anybody actually know what all these other guys, like what Chico's thing is when he covers his mouth? Like, nobody's ever figured that out. There's no story on it, so I don't really know. But I don't know. The K mask, I'm not liking it. Kenan Yildiz is too good a player. Needs a better Celly. Is Kenan Yildiz world class? Holy smokes, man. The headlines today are all the same. Kenan is world class. Everybody else sucks. And that's pretty much it. Is Kenan Yildiz world class? Paulo, is Kenan Yildiz world class?
I think he is. He doesn't score easy goals. He turns guys inside out. He defends. If he can get himself off the sideline and more towards the middle, I think there's more to discover from this player. Great attitude. I think he is. I think he's incredible.
Okay. Cliff, is he world class?
He's not yet. He's almost there. He's on the precipice. I just need to see more consistency. I think we talked about it out pre-show, is if he can do this without fading from matches on a consistent basis, and he's week in and week out the best player on the pitch. Great example, Nico Paz right now on Como is showing it week in and week out, and he's probably the best player in the league on current form. If Yildiz could do that on a consistent basis, no doubt in my mind he can be, one, the best player in Serie A, and two, a world-class player in world football.
Yeah. So I'm going to tackle this one right now. So you've got Koki saying, so how are the Yildizes overrated? Because we had discussion about the fans overrating him a lot based on consistency. And then you have world class means starting on the best teams in the world. Kenan can, in my opinion. Absolutely. So you have a couple things at play. However, you won't keep that starting spot on the best teams in the world if you're not consistent. And that's where that consistent argument comes into play. Whether it's his fault or the team's fault or not, there's been a feeling that I know I'm not alone on. And that's when we've talked about Kenan Yildiz. And that's doing what he's doing all the time. And yesterday, there you see it from first half to second half. It's right there in front of you. It's right there in front of you based on positioning. Something as simple as positioning. It got easier for Cagliari to take him out the more that he drifts and sticks to that flank. When he is central, he does damage. And he's got to figure that out too. That's not all just on a coach. You put yourself in a position where you impact games and you do so. So for me, he is a world-class talent. To be world-class though, that consistency has to be there. It's not, great. Against Bodo, guys, I told you. If Bodo wants to play him 1v1 like that, yeah, that's his game. I expect him to do that. I expect top wingers, top forwards, top attackers to chew teams up on 1v1s, especially when they get consistent roles. But world class, he's got elements that are world class for sure. Consistency, we need the consistency. We need him to find that kind of stuff all the time. So yeah, he ain't far off. He's pretty much there. These discussions are very similar to other players before. And we held them to the same kind of accord. I was like, I don't know. I remember talking about other players, and it's like, well, is he world class? He's probably right friggin' there. You need that magic all the time. There's been a big period.
You get that on another team. You need
you can't have a big period where you fade out. Now, if you're saying that comes down to teammates, I don't know. He's a talented player.
He's only been in a year and a half. How long has he been starting?
And that's one of the things that's speculative. He goes to another team. The consistency's there. Okay. He ain't far off.
Let's talk about the quality of defenders.
It's not like he's far off. The talent's there. He's got everything.
Mm-hmm.
He's got everything.
1,000%. But let's also talk about the defenders he's played against. Has he played against consistently a ton of world-class defenders yet? I am also waiting to see him go one-on-one with someone who is a true world-class defender. I would love to see him go up against, say Rudiger from Real Madrid. I want to see him take on a guy like that and put him in a blender. I want to see more of those types of matchups. And if Juve can continue to be a better team overall and get into those situations, he will get those opportunities to play against the world's best defenders.
Man, I think if you get somebody that can play, link up the play for him easier, if right now on our team, the only guy is really Miretti to advance out of the midfield, I think you'll see a different beast out of Kenan. And if you get him more central, what's the point of running a 3-back setup with wingbacks if the wingbacks aren't going to get him more central? What's the point? You might as well go 4-3-3 then, because then your press would be leveled off better. But Yildiz just keeping him central will definitely help with his consistency. I don't think you'll see that lull in games, regardless of teammates. This guy, to me, screams playing central. The only time I'd have him out on the flanks is if a team wants to play him straight up, like Bodo Glimt had these dreams that they were going to shut him down when he came in second half, 1v1 with a guy I've never heard of on the outside. Yildiz is going to roast you. Then, keep him out on the flank there all day. But when you're facing teams that want to have that 5-man wall at the back, it's too easy to just leave him out there. He's got to be in the middle. Creating havoc. So, yeah, Yildiz, pretty much there. We can all say pretty much there.
I say yes.
Consistency, some blame others. Now, this game, is Juve starting to kind of wake up a bit, or do you still think it's just same old, same old? Do you see any signs of maybe a turning of the corner?
Yes. They just need a little bit more coffee, a little bit more espresso in the morning. That's all they need. They're almost there. They're almost awake. They just need that extra shot of espresso to get them going first thing in the morning. But they're almost there. You can see their signs. The play is picking up a little bit. There's more kind of just energy in the team. I think they just, whether it's a formation thing, just getting more consistency match to match, like I think there are signs, and I think we're really close to having that true breakthrough match.
Yeah. Is this as close? This is something we've talked about a lot, and Tudor got kind of hit for it for so much changeover and everything. If you're talking about this team, is this as close as we've been to an ideal 11 and a 1A starting 11 this season? Do you feel like we're right there pretty much, Paolo? You think we're pretty damn close to it?
I like the way you've worded the question. Are we close based on what we have over these past couple of months? Maybe. Maybe the answer I would say is that we're close to kind of the best we can probably put out there. Maybe. But no, I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think there's going to be a couple of issues on the pitch either way. Would pick which one you want to replace to solve and reveal another. So I don't know. I think there's been small improvements, to be general. There's been some small improvements in different places, which I'm happy with. But we need, okay, here's my hot take. We need to win the Coppa Italia to get into Europe next year. That's where my head's at. So we're not close to anything, in my opinion.
Cliff, how do you feel about that question? Is this as close as we've been this season to knowing our ideal starting 11?
Well, I mean, that's why you're the gaffer. This is a great question. I love how you worded it, like Paolo said. I think we're really close. I think we need a match. I think this Udinese match is a perfect test point for us to see if you can beat a team convincingly, 3-0, 2-0, 3-1, something where there's a more than 2 goal margin of victory. I think if you can get a goal from, say, Yildiz, get a goal from David, get a goal from Miretti, like other people are contributing and you're seeing other players step up. I think we're really close. We just need that one match to show, okay, this team has, started figuring things out. I think we're almost there. I need to see more goals from the strikers and more consistency from our defenders before I can say that we're as good as we can be with the players that we have currently. I still think we're just a bit off the pace still, but I think we can, like I said, I still think this Udinese game is going to be so crucial to this season, to see kind of how we can move forward through December to the January transfer window, just kind of see how this team progresses.
Yeah, I see some of the feelings in the chat, like we are getting closer. Now we're not close. Like, if you look at this question, to knowing our ideal starting 11 with the players we have, I actually do feel we are closer than we've probably ever been this season. The signs that you're getting from Miretti, how it affects Yildiz, how it affects Chico, how it affects any of the other attackers. I think you can intermix whoever the hell you want up there, but it changes things. I think the biggest issue with really knowing 100% is not seeing a particular alternative. And I do feel, if I have something to say out of this game yesterday, I think it was a missed opportunity to try that 4-man backline, to just try and see if you can clean things up a bit, because right now there's this unknown. Colt Miners has been doing a good job at left center back. It's the best he's looked in a Juve shirt since we signed him. Nobody can argue differently. You are caught in making a couple calls, because we also see the frustration of Kalulu getting advanced. If you're playing a 3-5-2, we talked about this on the last post-match podcast, there are a couple things that are consistent throughout teams that play 3-5-2. Those outside center backs get advanced and they help the attack. When you ask Kalulu to get advanced like that and do a lot of that, and we saw it yesterday. Funny enough, he ends up getting an assist on Kenan's second goal, but he also had several break down at his feet. Now, with Cope Miners, you got to make a decision. Do you put him back into the midfield and get a three-man midfield? For me, you can have either Cope Miners or Thuram. You would still treat Cope Miners the same way he's playing right now as a left center back. Buddy, you stay back. The game slows down for you from the back. You make better decisions, better reads. Hang back. He can hang back with Locatelli. Miretti should be the one that tops off the midfield, and you make that triangle. And that's something I would definitely see. You have to sacrifice three at the back to do it, or you sacrifice an attacker. So I think we're super close. If you want to keep three-man backline, that's fine. But then you're down to two forwards if you want to get that extra midfielder. Okay, play Yildiz and a striker. You still want a creative on the outside? Maybe you utilize Chico or Zagrova where McKennie was playing on the outside right. Maybe you utilize that. There has to be some type of give in a 3-5-2 setup. You can't have just straight up defenders all across the board. Too safe, right? Or you go your 4-2-3-1 in certain games. I do think it was a missed opportunity. Because I think in Italy, with the amount of teams that play 3-5-2, I think it's redundant to play with a 3-5-2 as well when you're going to dominate the ball. So I do think we are close. But Spalletti's going to have to just figure out that last little detail. And I don't think he needs to change it. I don't think he needs to be like, no, we're going four-man back set. I think it's a four-man back set today. And I don't think that's a problem. And I think you should have these alternatives set up. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see if he goes with it. He's going to have to make a call at the top. It's probably going to be mixed work because Vlahovic, we wait to hear, but it's probably going to be 5-6 weeks. That pretty much seals the deal for Vlahovic as well. We were hearing that Chiellini said that there was an agreement to wait until season's end. This pretty much seals the deal that any decision that will be made with Vlahovic's future will be at season's end. Who should be the main man up top, or do you split it based on what they're showing you between Openda and David? What do you guys think?
I think you have to split it just because neither player has really taken the reins with that position. I mean, quite frankly, neither player has been given enough time to show what they can do at the position. So I think it needs to still be a 50-50 split. See who kind of shows more form, what match dictates what type of striker you need. Because like David hasn't shown me enough, Openda hasn't shown me enough. Do you play them together? Like there are a couple things you could do here. Trim is shouting for the 4-3-3. Like you said, Al, I think this team is best set up as a four-back. With a four-back, I don't know what the other parts of the formation is, but I think it's a three-man mid, four-back. I'm starting to shift a little bit in terms of my mindset of David. I'm willing to give him a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt. The Canadians are going to love to hear this because I think he has shown signs that he can be the right striker up top. He just needs a service. And I think if you put Miretti consistently in there, you will see him become more unlocked as a striker. So that's my 2 cents on the question.
Paolo, what do you think?
Cliff made some good points there. In particular, that you could go with 2 at the top. Sometimes when you have less, it forces you to work with what you have and you figure things out maybe with what you have. So I think we need to get David in there. He was everybody's answer. We all thought Vlahovic might leave, might get picked up by somebody, was going to leave at the end of the year anyway. So I think you have to get David in there and you have to see what he can do with some of these offensive weapons you have. So I say stick with David and figure it out.
Yeah. What about Milik? Yeah. Great Great. What about Milik? What about Milik?
Hey,
Okay.
he scored goals when he played. If you look at the number of
I-
the number of minutes he had and the number
What,
of
10
goals he
years
had in
ago?
that. No, in
I
that
gotta
last
say
Allegri
this.
year.
I gotta say this when
Look
you're
it up.
talking about both these guys. I think now the fact that Vlahovic is gonna be out for an extended period of time, that whole two striker thing, yeah, you're gonna have to split these guys up and make sure that you can kind of retain both of them. If you're looking at this, plays into what we were just talking about with multiple setups, having multiple setups ready to go. Openda, for me, can't lead a line unless there's a lot of space there and the game's open. You got to kind of make a decision there. David, definitely the better of the two if you're looking at like link up on a team that's going to play the way Cagliari did yesterday and the majority of Serie A. But you also saw the shortcomings in his game. And this is why I say, like, it's up to us to figure out how to get the best out of these players because they're all different. Vlahovic, Openda, and David are all different. When you treat them the same in a setup, you're going to have varying results. It's not one-to-one. You're not, plugging in one for the other and it's just going to be the same. If you're looking at Jonathan David and you've watched him historically, you know his passing range is short. He doesn't have a long passing range. The goals he scores, because he got opportunities yesterday where I was pissed he didn't shoot. I'm like, shoot the damn ball. But you know what? Even I, after thought about it, it's like, I want him shooting those, but he looks to set up. He looks to pass because his goals, all his goals, Canada, Lille, he's running on to the goal. He's running into the goal. He's latching on to things. He's tapping them in here. He's shooting here. He's heading here. That's his game. And then the rest is all this short passing buildup in and around the area. That's why he looked a lot better when Miretti came in because he had a guy right close to him that he could play off of. And all of a sudden, it just looked cleaner. And then he gets those 1-2s where he could break through. We talked about the missed opportunity through Chico. So you have to make your game fit these guys, whether it's David or Openda, but you are going to have to mix the two up based on opponents. That's the only way you're going to have to treat it. But a two-striker set, if it's a two-striker set, it's going to be with Yildiz as that second striker to get another advanced player in there. But mix it up. If you're going to expect a game with space, yeah, I'd probably go Openda where he can utilize it. And a two-striker set could become in play, if you're playing a certain opponent where it is expected to be an open game, like a Champions League game, etc., or a certain tough opponent in Serie A. Let's see. But to utilize them both, now that Vlahovic is out, might be a little bit dicey. Dicey.
No, Al, I don't think it's out of the question to put Openda on the wing and then putting David up top as striker because I think Openda is better when he's on the wing in space and on the counter. I think David and Openda going forward in that setup would work really, really well.
I know, but I'm not going to put Openda over a Chico or over a Zagrova. Is Zagrova ever going to be fit enough to give us
I think that's the question.
Decent friggin' minutes? Are we serious here?
Yeah.
That's my only thing with Openda, but I agree. I even think if you look back to his time at Leipzig, he was better off to the side, right? So yeah, it's that is in its own up to us to figure out and up to Spalletti to figure out as well, not just plant him at the top and be like, man, this guy's touch sucks and just crucify him. It's like, well, did we not know that? We've kind of seen that that's one of the shortcomings. Work around it, right? So, and I know when you ask Openda, he'll tell you, I'm a 9. Okay, great, man. Well, cool.
I don't see it.
Cool. That feels to me like the young kids that all say they're strikers when you play football and you go show up.
Yeah,
hey,
I'm a striker too.
I'm a striker. Where do you play? Striker, 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 striker. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm a striker. I'm 5'7". I'm not a striker.
Now, in the table, Juve finds themselves in a position where we have to get things rolling. 23 points after that victory there, okay? You've got Como and Bologna at 24 points. Como's played the same match as us. Bologna has a game in hand. Then you have Napoli with 25. They have a game to play. Inter's at 25. Well, they're in the middle of a match. What is the biggest vulnerability you think for Juve right now? And what is your actual expectation for the remainder of the season? Paolo kind of alluded to where he thinks we're going to be right now, but let's talk about vulnerabilities because they're still creeping up. What do you think the biggest vulnerability for Juve is right now that absolutely has to be corrected to shift your expectations down the season? Let's start with Paolo, who alluded to his expectations. What's the biggest vulnerability you think?
Oh, geez. Well, frankly, we have different kinds of mini issues everywhere. If we could get, and unfortunately with Vlahovic being out, if we could get more offense going, a little more possession, and a few more goals from a few more people, I think that's where we solve a lot of our problems, where we can win 4-2, 3-1, squeak out a 3-2, those types of things. Because defensively, we've been okay. And I never thought that would be the case, but we seem to have held it together considering we spent the whole summer hoping we get a really good center back. Bremer is coming back, which will cause a bit of an interesting problem there. So I think we need to score more and have more possession. But ultimately, I think Spalletti has to kind of figure out what to do with who and what his version of this game will look and feel like most of the time, regardless of the opponent, most of the time. So I think that's where
I want you to clarify something, because you said something kind of interesting there with Bremer returning. And you said an interesting problem. How so?
Well, you've got three guys who are kind of doing a good job. I'd like to see Coop do what he kind of came to do, which is be an exciting, smart midfielder who can kind of come behind the scene and take shots from outside the box and bury chances, set guys up. But he's been doing well on defense, and when something's working, you tend to keep it working. So do you go with four at the back? Spalletti hasn't shown a lot of interest in that, and I don't know why, or if he's just waiting, or if he's going to go there by default if Bremer returns, and if he thinks that three at the back isn't doing what he wants it to do for whatever reason. So the interesting challenge is you will have a defense that's, other than a couple of bloopers, is doing fairly well, and Bremer standing there needing some minutes and needing to get rolled in. What do you do with that? And does it solve things in the middle and up top or not? Because I think that's where some of the problems I see right now really are. And I don't think Spalletti's found the right game for himself or his players yet. And that's why we see him changing at halftime, trying strange things, starting lineups, tweaks to the starting lineup. So it's a bit of a work in progress. So I don't know. Maybe it's still a bit early to see what the answer to that question might really be.
Yeah, we've got some comments in here. Trimbley, our boy, says scoring and keeping the ball out of the net. Well, yeah, but that's the point. You got to pick one. That's
soccer.
The biggest vulnerability. What is a bigger vulnerability? Will it be solved with Bremer coming back, or it isn't the biggest vulnerability and it's still putting the ball in the back of the net? We're leaking goals.
Missed opportunities I think is my answer.
Cliff, what do you think the biggest vulnerability is?
I think you could go either way. I think we spoke about this a couple shows ago, you and I. I want to say scoring goals because I'm an offense guy, but Juve's identity historically has been good defense. And I will say, obviously they're not coming in buckets, but we are scoring goals, albeit not from the striker position, but we can't keep a clean sheet to save our lives. So that's why I would say it's more defense, because whenever an opponent is driving at us on a counter or whatever, I don't feel really confident like years past. Like years past, I would say there's no way they're scoring with Barzagli, Bonucci, Chiellini. Like there's so much confidence in that defense now. You're always nervous when the other team has the ball, whether it's going to take a really bad deflection, really bad positioning leads to, a cutback goal or whatever it may be. I think it's defense, and I think Paolo brings a great point when Bremer's back. I don't think it's that difficult of a decision. I think if Coop keeps this form of play, or this good run of form, I think Spalletti's going to keep him in there because he wants a ball playing center back in the backfield. And I think with him and Bremer, it could really work well together. People will say Lloyd Kelly is the best on that left side. I still think he's raw and needs some more time to develop some of his abilities. But Coop is a little bit more seasoned and is very comfortable on the ball. So I think him and Bremer together will be really good. But I hate that we have to keep relying on this one player to come back from injury to save us and make us good defensively. Like, I think it's a big problem to have.
Here's my thing is like, if I'm looking at this, they're both issues. If I'm going to say the biggest vulnerability, we've only conceded like 12 goals. It's like, we're not conceding a terrible amount. They're infuriating goals because they're garbage goals that we're conceding. But going back to this whole thing about Yildiz saving Juve, is that an issue? It isn't, and it is. The issue that I see with it is, and I spoke it, and I said it clear as day on the watch along, the only guy I feel confident will finish a chance that's like, you got to bury that, is Yildiz. That, I think, is this team's biggest vulnerability. We've had issues to kill games, issues to get back into games. We're not taking them. The guys are not ruthless enough up top. They're not confident enough up top. Interesting enough, our coach spoke about our players. Spoke about Openda and David, like almost like they're too nice. He's like, they're too nice. The other team can feed off that, whatever. It's like they're sensitive, whatever. He's like, I don't care. He's like, I'll give this guy a hug if he needs a hug, but put it on your game face and go get the job done. These guys got to be ruthless. I would say the bigger vulnerability is not being able to put that ball in the back of the net and hurt teams. And I think it would give the guys at the back a little more breathing room in terms of the errors that we see. You don't have to be so tense all the time if you have confidence that you can kind of strike and put that thing back there, right?
Can I ask a question, Ewell?
Yeah.
When we end this season, do you think we'll have more clean sheets or more wins by more than one goal?
We're definitely not going to have more clean sheets.
I think that's the question is can you be that team that doesn't concede like goals on a consistent basis? That's I think where I'm coming from. But I know
that's
where
why you got to put the ball in the back of the net.
Well, and that's why you need a bunch of different players and a different coach and a different setup.
Like
we're not that team. We're not the shut everybody down and then win one.
I know.
We're not that team.
I know.
We don't have the players. We're lucky that guys like Kelly are looking great. That we don't need Gotti in there. That great calamities are gone. Right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's been great. He's been good. I wouldn't say Gotti. I wouldn't say
God.
Kelly's
what
been
do
great.
You want?
Kenan Yildiz reaches 20
perfection.
goals.
I want perfection.
Dude, Yildiz reaches 20 goals at 20 years old, 209 days. That's 134 days before Del Piero did. Like, again, this guy is the only guy. He's a 20-year-old. The only guy that right now I feel confident if he gets an opportunity that's like a top opportunity, he's going to bury. That's not good enough. When you brought in this many attackers, when you're like fucking completely just abandoned any priority at the back line whatsoever, you got to fucking put the ball in the back of the net. These guys need to strike. Chico needs to start striking. Jagrova, they're starting to call him J-Grova, okay? Because like the guy just...
That's funny.
Yeah, like J-Grova now, okay? We gotta see these guys going. But if you had this attack that on paper was like boom, 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 it needs to pick up the weight because you said you pretty much acted as if there was no priority at the back line. And to be honest, Colt Miner's doing a good job. I think it'd probably be worse without him going back there. Looking at what he's doing, I think it actually would have been worse. I think it would have been worse. So I even said yesterday, Kostic would have been absolutely roasted way worse if Colt Miners wasn't the one there. I think if Kelly was the one there, he would have got cooked even more. Cole Miner's intelligence is actually shining through at that position. There's a couple vulnerabilities. You could go both ways. They got to find a balance in their game, and that's why I think like when you're focused so much on personnel, I still think there's something we need to try there. Now you get to the Coppa Italia match ahead of the game at the Maradona against Napoli. So when you look at this match against Udinese, do you use it to answer some questions and still approach it with a rather strong lineup, or do you rest guys? Do you go with a rotation in anticipation of the Napoli match? What would you do in this particular game?
Do you want like my full starting 11?
Cliff,
oh,
go.
Sorry.
Well, yeah. What do you think? Would you rotate it? Would you answer some questions and still go with a fairly strong 11?
I mean, I think this is a match that screams for Zhigrova to get his first significant minutes. Like, play him 45 minutes and then pull him. I mean, let the guy play a little bit. Well, then that's a whole other question if he can't play. If he doesn't have the fitness still after this many months, that's a big problem.
Because what they've been saying is that the pain kicks in. That's why he's like limited in minutes, because there's pain that kicks in if he gets overloaded, like still.
Okay, that's a whole other issue then. If he's still having pain, and I don't know how many years or how many months it's been removed from the injury. But I would do some rotation. I think up top against Udinese, we'll probably see. My gut says Openda. My gut says they'll start Openda up top. As much as I don't want to see that, I have a feeling he'll start up top. I think Miretti will probably get the start. If I would love them to experiment with the 4-back and play Coop and Kalulu as a 2 center back pairing. I'd like to see Cabal get some more minutes. Cambiaso, I want to see him get integrated back in. I think this is a good match to play around with some players.
Do we see João Mario? Like, is he alive?
I don't know. I don't know who that is. I don't know who you're talking about.
Who is this João Mario you speak of?
Who is this player you speak of?
Paolo, what do you think? Answer some questions in the build-up to that? Keep guys kind of rolling or just rotate?
No, you put your best lineup up in there and you win the game. And you try and figure out if you have something that you can use against a team that will be available to beat. You don't underestimate them. We know how that worked out last year with, I can't remember who we lost to, but it was like some City B shit. I forget who it was, but you put your best lineup out there. You try and see if you can tweak or fine-tune something. You get David in there and try and give him like whatever it is, 70, 80 minutes, and you win the game. Because this might be the only way we get into Europe next year. And I don't think you take anything for granted. And if the boys are too tired to go play Napoli, then it'll be good if they've won that game and they have a chance to get into Europe by winning the Coppa Italia, because they might just end up in the middle of the table by the end of the year in Serie A. So if you can't play 2 games in a week, get another job.
It was Empoli's 3rd-tier squad, by the way, in that Coppa game that we dropped. And, geez, that was Achita.
No funny business.
Coming up. Listen.
No funny business.
For me, you guys know how I feel, and I've been vocal about it all the time. If you're worried about a game that's upcoming on the schedule, you make it up on the training side of things, not in the match things. You do what it takes to get the job done. I do believe that you could still have a little bit of rotation in there, still field a good squad. For me, the bigger question is when are you going to take the shot at figuring out this alternative, the alternative setups and whatnot, and what's going to actually be a key? Because when you keep having the questions circulating and you're not actually answering it, that's when you start to get in trouble. I said this with Motta. I said it with Tudor. I'm going to continue it with Spalletti. I would continue it with any other coach. There's been a couple instances now where Miretti has come on and shown something that has been lacking. So it's up to you to figure out if your best setup is a 3-man midfield, to figure that out, or if he takes over the spot of a guy that's been taking a lot of heat for not impacting games enough, and that's Thuram. You need to answer that question. You need to figure that one out. So for me, you definitely don't get crazy. You go out and attack this game. You worry about Napoli when you're ready to face Napoli, but you go out and attack this game, but you need to answer some questions. I think there was a missed opportunity in this match against Cagliari. Don't do the same thing in this Coppa Italia match against Udinese. So for me, you attack them, get after it, but let's try and figure out what you want to do there moving forward. Now, as far as this team goes, and then Napoli's going to be a big one. Typically, when you look at Coppa Italia games, that's where your alternates kind of get their run. Perin now has had 2 games in a row. Perin will probably get the Coppa Italia. It was probably always set up to be his. So now that makes 3 games consecutively. Do you believe he's also going to start Napoli, or you all of a sudden go back to Di Gregorio?
No shot. Di Gregorio is clear of Perin in terms of shot stopping ability and just being a goalkeeper. Simple as that for me.
Do you believe, Paolo, that we're seeing maybe a shift to Perin from Spalletti?
Yeah, I think we are, and I don't know if I agree with Perin, who's been kind of annoying on social media, especially when the Mota era was on and Perin was sitting there being Mr. Big Mouth and punching away on his little keypad. So he's kind of annoying, and he did a salmon dive and letting in a goal a few weeks back, which still bugs me. But Di Gregorio is rough with his feet. He's not really aggressive off his line, and I don't know what his IQ is on areas outside of his shot stopping, because I think he's a big, strong keeper who's great at stopping shots. He's makes some beautiful saves, and I do like him. But again, Perin with his vocal attitude is actually quite proactive. He walks up to the top of the box. He receives it at his feet very well. He moves it left, right, quick touches, quick decisions, and whatnot. So he's adding a dimension to flow that I think Spalletti is favoring. And if it's working, I think he has to keep going with it, because I don't know if you try 4 at the back. I don't know if you try going back to Di Gregorio, unless you're playing like a Napoli where you want to try and park the bus. If that's your strategy, that get Di Gre in there, try 4 at the back, really hold the fort and wait for your counters or whatever it is. I think you kind of go with what's working, because you got a couple of wins in the row and you're trying to figure things out, and it seems to be where he's heading.
So Paolo doesn't think it's just nothing. He thinks it might be something there. Cliff thinks it's nothing. You have some rumblings that Di Gregorio was just ill and whatnot, but I tell you what, you might have yourself a little bit of a decision if you go into a big game like Napoli there after not starting him for 3 straight matches, because goalkeepers are a different breed. Now, at the end of the day, we're probably all going to feel pretty similar. Like, you got a job to do. If you're a top guy, like, you just go in and you play, and you can sit 3, you could sit 4, but I gotta say, the way this season has been going for Di Gre, I don't know if I wouldn't follow it up with Perin again, just because of the simple fact that when things kind of work and if things are going a certain direction, I hate changing for the sake of changing. And I would probably wait till the following game if your intentions are to go back to Di Gregorio, no matter what caused the situation to have 3 straight games of a certain keeper, I just wouldn't change it at that moment in time. That's just me. But I understand those that would have no fear and just say, no, he's the guy, he's the number 1, you just go and do it. Okay, but rhythm, momentum, all that, like, it all plays a factor. It's going to be an interesting call. We'll see.
I guarantee he starts against Napoli. I guarantee it.
And maybe he should.
Probably.
We'll see. But
I wouldn't be surprised either way. I'm just saying, don't be surprised if a fucking howler goes in.
Yeah.
Based on how this season's going. And he has not been as good as he was last year. I don't think he's a problem. I don't think he's a shit goalie. But I can confidently say I don't think he's been as good as he was last year.
Yeah, I think it's a fair assessment.
That's just me.
Mm.
And with goalies, man, every sport, you like when you get rolling, if something's happening, whatever, guys that get hurt, hockey's notorious for this. A guy gets hurt, another goalkeeper comes in for whatever reason. If the wins start
Never
coming,
gets his job back.
that guy, it's the toughest thing to do is to get your job back. Now, Perrin hasn't done anything insane that's like, oh, he's got to be the guy, but it's just a rhythm thing. It's a continuity thing. It'll be an interesting storyline to see. Now, let me ask you this, though, Cliff, because you say guarantee. If Perrin does, in fact, start Coppa and start Napoli, will you then believe that Spalletti is actually doing that, or do you think it's just a continuity thing? Would you believe at that point that is him moving towards Perrin?
Yeah, so if he goes 2 more straight matches with Perrin, which I don't think will be the case, but if he does, then I think you can say that there's a clear trend or a clear pattern that he has the guy that he wants to play with, whether it's because he plays well with his feet or whatnot. I still think your job as a goalkeeper is to keep the ball out of your net. I don't like the whole idea of, you need a goalkeeper who can play with his feet. If you can boot the ball, which Di Gregorio has done, boot the ball to your striker in good positions and get him forward, I don't think it matters if you can play tiki-taka at your feet. If you can stop shots and you're competent in the back, I think that's good enough.
I think that there might be a little bit something more to it when it comes to a leadership thing. And if you go back to the beginning of Spalletti coming here, who's the player he turned back to and kept calling over to ask questions in certain moments of matches, certain players and whatever? It was always Perrin. He literally, he was like, Perrin, what about this guy? What about that guy? What about this? And he was getting his input. I feel like maybe we were seeing something. Hey, time will tell. Maybe we should put a wager on. Maybe we'll put a wager on later.
But do you remember when Spalletti came in? We talked about that kind of like that fake like photo shoot where Perrin and him were like hugging or whatever, the whole scripted thing.
It looked
that was
very
his guy,
scripted.
Perrin.
It sounded very scripted. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about sidelines in games where he's literally pulling him down and asking him opinions on players and everything. Not what the Creators Lab is doing in between of getting songs made about Turkey.
I'll say this, Bert. What is refreshing to me in Spalletti being here is he has kind of looked at things through his own lens, and you kind of want that for a coach to come in to see if he can solve things, figure out things, get the right guys in the right positions, bench guys, start guys, formation style, whatever. And I believe that the Perrin thing is a leadership thing. I think it's a feet thing. And when I talk about sweeper keepers or whatever, I'm not saying I want a goalie who's better with his feet than his hands, who would say that. I think the way the team reacts to the way he moves and the way he kind of commands from the back up, and Spalletti making changes at halftime, Beretti getting a start. I think he's doing different things. Kostic getting starts, which I don't agree with, but I like that Spalletti is kind of seeing things his own way. So for a fan, that's refreshing because it keeps you wondering, and then it gives you a bit of optimism that he might discover or he might lead up to something that will be something we weren't expecting and maybe is fun to watch or getting his points.
Now, before we get to Storm the Barn, do you believe Juve can return into title contention and title talks this season? You don't believe it, Cliff?
No, I haven't seen anything yet that has proven that we can be a title contender. Again, like I hate to keep saying this, but we are a top 4 team. I don't see us taking that next step yet to be like a true contender. Just the way that I've seen Milan play. Inter have looked a little bit exposed at times, but Juve haven't had that match where I really feel like they've taken the reins to be like, yeah, we can really fight for this title. Like I need to see an emphatic win against a significant opponent. Like if they could beat a Roma 3-1 or something like that, that would give me a bit of confidence. Say, okay, I think we have something there. I think we can really make that push. Or even against Napoli. If we see a 2-0 or a 3-1 victory against Napoli, one that really shows a convincing victory, then I could go and have that conversation, but not yet.
So what's it gonna take? 4 wins in a row, 5 wins in a row here over the next stretch? Like, what's it actually gonna take for you?
Well, if we get 4 wins in a row, if we beat Udinese and then we beat Napoli convincingly, like I think I'd be willing to go out on a limb and say, yeah, I think we're back in title contention. But until we see like a significant stretch of like consecutive wins and also some convincing wins in there, like it can't all be like 1-0s or 2-1s, like really close match. We need to have a couple in there that are really convincing to show me, okay, we have it in us to really compete with the big dogs.
Well, there you go. So you guys heard it here. Just like our friend at the United Strand, Cliff has just volunteered to grow his hair until Juve gets 5 straight convincing wins in all competitions. Beautiful stuff, Cliff. We love that. We love that.
Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see all that hair.
So, Paolo, do you believe Juve can get back into title talks, title contention talks?
Right now, I don't think so. And I remember at the beginning of the year, I was looking at where things could go, trying to guess what might be. And I did believe that at the time, the top 7 teams wouldn't be separated by too much. And I think there's 2 really weird things going on. Number one is these teams that are at the top right now are fairly consistent. They're doing well. They're winning close games and blowouts against bad teams for the most part. So unless some of them start losing, and we continue to get points, we're always going to be chasing them. And this gap is always at risk of getting wider before it's getting shorter. So that's the first thing, is that these teams are looking good, playing well, and they're not losing really. The second thing is, to kind of contradict myself, is we seem to play well against good teams, or like in Champions League, we haven't been terrible. The results haven't been awful, even though we only have a few points. So I also wouldn't be surprised. We've got 2 games against Roma, 2 games against Napoli, a game against Inter. Bologna, we don't know. Como, they handed it to us, so they might do it again. But there is that chance of these 6-point games where we could find ourselves in the top 3 or 4. But I'm still worried about us getting a European spot. So my answer right now is no, but it's interesting situation.
To say that, to get back into the discussion of it, I mean, depending on the result in the Derby della Sola, okay? Depending on that result there, we could still be 5 points out. Hey, Rocky. We could be 5 points out depending on the result there today. I mean, to say that I have no belief that we could at least get back to the talks, I stand firm. What leads me to believe this isn't even so much Juve's play. It's just the fact that I think it's going to be tight the entire way, because I don't see anybody running away with it. And I think that nobody is convincing. And I just think by default, we tripped and stumbled and whatever, and you still have a coach that's like, we spent a lot of time covering the answers that he's still searching for. I mean, it's not going to take a big run at all to get back in the talks. We're saying title contention talks, not winning the title. So belief that we could get to a point of talking about the title again, if Bremer comes back and that goes well for us, based on some of the other things that have happened in his absence, I actually do believe we could get back to a place where we are in the mix, in the discussion at the very least. If you're asking my belief on us winning it, that's different than my belief of us getting back in contention for it. I'm just going to say that. If Bremer comes back and that meniscus thing, fingers crossed, okay, knock on wood, it goes good for us, you'll have an interesting decision Paulo alluded to earlier on what you do at the back there. If we can get these guys firing up top, okay.
That's a lot of ifs. That's a lot of ifs, Al.
It's 2 ifs. Get the
Two
guys
is way too
firing
many
up
for
top
me.
and Bremer staying fit.
That's
But even if
too many for you,
even
man.
if Bremer doesn't stay fit, you get these guys firing up top, you're already better than you're already better off than you have been.
But I'll wait till I see that to start saying that we're back in the discussion. If I start seeing them firing up top, I'll change my opinion.
I'm not
I have no
asking you
problem.
right now if you feel that way. I'm asking you, do you believe you could get to that point?
I
That's a
don't feel
whole
that way
different
yet.
ball game. You're saying I need to wait for see. I'm asking you, do you believe that they can get there?
I don't believe yet. Maybe I sound like a pessimist, but I don't believe yet.
Yeah, you're supposed to be Mr. Optimism and you're shitting the bed. Look,
I know. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I've been too many
No,
years of Juve sucking.
it is what it is. That's why we hash it out. That's why we talk about it. But the fact remains, this season should have been dead. If we're being honest. If a team in Serie A was legit, Juve doesn't go 2 wins out of 13 and only 5 points away from the top.
It's true.
So if you want to say that the season's over, the season's dead, man, that's crazy levels of pessimistic.
I don't think we're dead yet. I don't think we're
no
dead
one's
yet.
saying that, I don't think.
No, there is. I'm literally looking at it, and
Oh.
Mitch is saying no.
That's
no
crazy.
belief. There's no belief at all that we could be in a spot where we content. I don't believe that. I'm not buying that. That's crazy. I believe.
If we finish top 3, it's a miracle. Honestly, if we finish top 3, it's a miracle. And I love my Juve. I want Juve to do well, of course. Juve's fino alla fine, right? We'll talk about this at the end of the year, but
so top 3
would be a miracle.
A miracle.
Honestly.
So who do you
I
believe
honestly
finishes
think so.
top 3? Right now, Milan's at the top, 28 points, a game in hand on Roma. Roma's 9 wins, no draws, 3 losses. Napoli's at 25 points. They're going to face each other today. Inter's at 24 with a game in hand. Who do you believe finishes top 3, Paulo?
I don't know. There's a lot of good candidates. The 2 Milan teams are, Inter is as shitty and annoying as they are. They're probably gonna. Sorry, I shouldn't say that word. Inter. It makes things bad. They're cursed. The Milans are doing okay. Napoli is still the defending champions, and they're hanging in there doing their thing. Barring major injuries, they might still do that. Roma's looking pretty good under Gaspi. And Como, honestly, those guys, I don't know what's going on, but they're for real. So it could be any of those teams, honestly. And that's part of my statement, my analysis is that these guys are pretty good. So we need a couple of them to start failing or to beat them all, like beat Napoli twice, beat Roma twice, but to kind of sneak in there. I'm not answering your question. I'll say AC Milan, Napoli, and I'll go Roma.
All right.
But
I'm looking at these teams, and Milan with 8 wins, 4 draws, 1 loss. They're probably going to be drawing a bunch more games. They still play rather unconvincing. It's like you feel like it could fall off at any point. We know that Allegri train all too well with the 1-0s. Roma's already suffered 3 defeats. They've got no draws, 9 wins, but 3 defeats. Napoli's already suffered 3 defeats. Inter has suffered 4 defeats, no draws. They either win, lose. They're drawing right now with Pisa, and I believe it's close to the 70th minute. And then Bologna and Como. Como's got a ton of draws too. 6 wins, 6 draws, but only lost once. I don't think draws should be a thing that keep us out of the mix. We got to stop being Juventus. Bologna, I don't know if they can keep it going the entire way, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd throw these strong feelings about not believing with Juve just based on what I'm seeing from these other guys. I mean, we've already had a drop-off, a significant one, and you're still sitting there like right in the thick of things. So, yeah, I don't know.
That's great.
Let's
Bert.
see.
That's great. Like you said all year, this Serie A is here for the taking. It almost was last year to an extent.
Serie A. Let's just see. Let's see.
You know, it's so funny. We're so bad, and we're still actually like we could actually legitimately say we could be top 4. So I think that's a positive we could take.
You can. It's like I feel this way. We're so used to like when we were winning it, you had to be so strong to win it, and people want to discredit that decade of dominance. That's just bullshit. That's complete utter bullshit. We had to be strong because there was always at the minimum 2 legit teams that racked up points. You had to be strong. This Serie A for a couple seasons now, you could shithouse your way to a Scudetto. That wasn't the case. So that alone is giving me this belief. You could shithouse your way to a Scudetto like Napoli did last year. They shithoused their way to that one. Nobody wanted it. You know? Inter, even when Napoli won the one with Spalletti, that's theirs. That's their team. This cycle for Inter, they could have had a dynasty.
Yeah.
They just don't want it.
Also, I know I sound like a pessimist before we get to this one. I did have Juve winning the league before the season started.
Well, that's super optimistic. I don't know if any of us had it. I just wanted them to fight for it. So maybe that's why I'm clinging to it, because I just believe we should be in this Serie A. We really should be. Now, can Miretti replace McKennie in that role as an outside player? Like McKennie's playing wingback role. If you're talking about McKennie in the advanced role out of the midfield, like next to the attackers, in a heartbeat, he already has. But as a wingback, no. Not as a wingback. Would you guys be okay with seeing Chico play as a wingback? We've already seen it once.
He could. I tried to make comparison to Amad Diallo on United because he finds a lot of space on the counter when he's coming from the wingback position. And Chico could be a pest back there, but I don't think he can really hold up enough defensively and track back enough where I feel like he's going to be effective there.
What do you think about using like a Jagrover or Chico on the outside there, Paulo?
Cliff, that's a good comparison with Ahmad. I guess I would say no, mainly because I want to see him going forward doing all those things he does up and around the box and whatnot. The fact that he comes back and sometimes tracks back to the middle to help recycle the ball, to help defend, I think is a bonus. I think this Juve needs to keep the ball on the other side of the field, so I'd probably say no. It's an interesting point.
All right. Can we talk about the difference in how Loca is playing under Spalletti compared to Tudor? He's much quicker, more direct. Another difference is the other players' positioning off the ball. I'll be quite honest. I don't see a big difference. But I've never had an issue with him. I think he's still doing the same thing. I don't know. Have you guys noticed any difference in it? I personally don't. But no, I've never had a problem.
I think the movement's a fair point. I've said I think that Spalletti has gotten these guys moving a little bit better. The pace of play has been better. So you can see the ideas are starting to be implemented. But for Loca, I think Loca is just the anchor. And I think he stayed as the anchor. I don't see much of a difference.
Yeah, I'd agree. Paolo, any difference?
No, but Spalletti has changed everything around Loca. So you'll notice Coop saying everybody up, or he's saying go ahead Loca, get the ball, and he's going to try and move Kostic down the field by pushing him because he's so thick sometimes he doesn't know how to go down the damn field. But so I think he's changing everything. around Loca, which is helping Loca. And we need to see less of these 5 guys standing at the back going left and right. So yeah, he's changed everything around Loca, which I think is only good for Loca, and it's obviously an improvement for the rest of the team.
If there's
New nickname.
if there's anything I see, oh, sorry, Cliff, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say his new nickname is Thick Miners.
No. It's Caustic, that guy.
Yeah, he sticks to the guy right in front of him, like, get away from me, I'm trying to pass to you. And he gives it. Coop gives it to Kostic, who looks at him 6 feet away, gives it back, and then Coop gives it back to him again. He's still standing there, and he gives it back. It's like, get the goddamn down the line, you idiot.
Anyway, if I'm looking at Locatelli and you want to talk about something that's different, I think it's spot on to say that the things around him have changed, because even just in terms of movement, it feels like game in, like over these past few as well, all of a sudden you have these guys that are starting to move more off the ball, okay? And that's probably ideal. Like, I always said, like, everyone's flipping out on this guy distributing whatever, and it's like, well, he is distributing, but he's distributing to where the players are. If you're not making the runs, like, you want him to distribute a ball to runs that aren't even there. When the runs are being made, he's sending the ball. He's playing direct, and he's moving it up there if the play is there. And he'll break the lines when it's there. And Miretti's doing that a ton. And yeah, right now I don't think there's an issue. Cope Miners is an interesting one to watch, though, when Bremer returns, to see what happens there with him. Having 2 anchors, if you're gonna run a pivot, that would probably be ideal. 2 anchors in Cope Miners and Locatelli. Like, that would be ideal. Thuram needs to pick it up. I'm telling you. Like, this guy needs to find impact. He needs to find impact.
Spalletti's going to do that, because one of the other interesting things about what he's changed is he's not afraid to make substitutes at halftime, which I'm an incredible big fan of. I love that. And he's also putting different guys in and out. So, McKennie has got a lot more enthusiasm lately. Is that partly because Miretti's getting more chances? You're getting guys moving the ball quicker, making their runs more often, not holding on to the ball, fighting a little bit for their jobs, and no one's safe. So if you have Thuram playing better yesterday because Miretti is now finding time, then good. So he is kind of stirring it up a little bit that way, and it can only help the players, and it'll keep him healthier if he's mixing things up too.
Yeah. Now let's get to where are we at here? With this performance and lineup, how many points will Juve get against Napoli, Roma, Bologna? My guess is get ready for the absolute worst.
I think 5 points.
A win and 2 draws, eh?
I could see it. I could see I could see Napoli being a win, and I could see Roma and Bologna both being draws.
2 wins, 1 draw. 7 points.
No. One win, 2 draw. Oh,
No.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
Cliff,
sorry.
there's other people on the panel, but 7 points.
I need more coffee.
Just busting your balls. 7 points. 7 points. Paolo.
I don't know. The way we play against better teams, it could actually be possible we beat Napoli 2-1. We could beat Bologna. And then maybe tie Roma. Like, it could be 7. I don't know. We could end up with 3 or we could end up with 7. I don't know.
It's because they're unconvincing. And it's okay to say that. They are unconvincing. All these games are toss-up matches. All of them. Like, nobody's convincing. And we are not convincing either. So
I think it's more about us. We play better against good teams, and we seem to not be able to manage ourselves.
There's nobody in this league that scares me. Like, that's the thing that bothers me. Is like, I'm just like wondering what Juve's going to show up.
Como scares me.
Yeah, they don't scare me.
Yeah, that was
like,
rough.
Como's like
That was a rough game.
they
Don't like
play a
that.
good brand of football and stuff, but they don't scare me. Like nobody scares me. I'm not scared. Like I'm scared of fucking
Dark.
what lineup we're gonna be with and how they play, and are they gonna be awake at the opening half, or are we gonna piss away an entire half of football against any one of these teams? That's
Well,
what
let's see
worries
when
me.
we play them, right, Bert? We haven't played a lot of really good teams in Serie A right now. We haven't played any of these pretenders or whoever they are, really. So let's see what happens, because remember that awful two
The
games
start of
where
our schedule was good. It was tough. Like we've
was
played
it?
all those teams one round. Napoli's the only one we didn't.
We played Roma already.
We have to play Roma and Napoli, but yeah, like we played
Right.
Inter, we played Milan, we played all these guys at the top. We've already played, other than Napoli and Roma.
Right, but what I'm saying is that when we had that nightmare couple of games with Mota, when we had a chance to get somewhere and we lost 4-0, I think it was at home. We lost to Fiorentina. We lost to Atalanta. I think it was a disaster. Yeah, let's see what happens, because we'll find out. We'll find out against Roma and Napoli, if we should be scared of these guys or not. Because I hope you're right, and I hope we don't need to be.
Yeah.
Can,
With
can
TV
can we just talk about Trim just said we're going to get 9 points out of those 3 games?
Yeah, I love it.
Right on, Trim.
I love
Forza
it.
Juve.
Good on you, Trim. Good on you, Trim. Let's
Nice.
go, brother. Let's go.
Say that when you're on camera next time, Trim.
With DV9 probably
Sneaking it in the
leaving, and if
chat.
David and Openda doesn't get any better, we would need to get at least two attackers next summer. What targets would you look at, knowing we have many holes to fill? I'll be quite honest. Let's wait and see what develops, and situations flip like that. Like all of a sudden this week, you're hearing about this Xavi Alonso shit and all this. Like, guys, it's way too early. I'm not looking at targets just yet, and I have no idea on availability, on who we want to go after, whatnot. It's way too soon, and I'd argue that, man, if things didn't get better, you still going after. I still say it's only one you have to go after based on what system you want to play. Things can change drastically, even from us, from now until how we finish. Could be a completely different setup altogether. Could be a different style, but there's nobody I'm really looking at right now. It's way too soon. Do you guys have somebody you would like to see him sign already that you know about?
Somebody said Camarda. There's no way Milan let him go to Juve. There's no shot in hell he gets to go to Juve. I think like one target that really sticks out to me is, I mean, it's the obvious one, is Colomwani. I mean, I'd love to bring him back. I think he brings a certain level of creativity up forward. Castro, somebody mentioned. I'm not convinced with Castro up top. I think Colomwani is by far, because we've already seen him in our system, I think he's the out and out like top pick to be the next striker candidate.
All right, Paulo?
Great call, Cliff. Yeah, I say Colomwani would be very nice. I'd take him at any time. But too many things are in play to even imagine what we might need or want, and what contracts we let go, because we have 5 or 6 that are wrapping up this year, and if we make Europe or not, and what the money situation is.
Do you think if we had Massimiliano Allegri right now and gave him a mercado with the players he wants, that we would do much better? Look at what he is doing. When we had him, we gave him only Alcaraz. He would have done better than Mota, for sure. For sure, would have done better than Mota. I believe he would have done better than Tudor. We don't know what Spalletti would have done with an actual preseason either, though. And it's just a whole lot of speculation. But yeah, he would have done better than, I believe, Tudor and Mota. I'll safely say yes. He would have done better than them.
If I had wings, I would have been a pigeon, but I don't have wings, so I'm not a pigeon. So there you go.
I don't know what that means when you're talking about would we have done better with Allegri right now.
We'll never know, because Allegri's not our coach.
Would we
So it
not
doesn't
have,
matter.
you can't safely say he would have done better than Tudor?
I don't know, because he's not our coach.
Oh fuck. I can 100% tell you he would have done better than Tudor. 1,000. Come on, Cliff. Cliff, please.
I know. He probably would have. I'm
Trying to
just
put
messing.
Tudor up there with Max is something else. That saying this, I feel like so many people feel like it's an admission that we didn't need to move on from him. It's not an admission that we didn't need to move on.
Yeah.
You know? But to say that he wouldn't have done better than Mota or Tudor, I don't think is a fair thing to say. I think it's bullshit. You know? That's just me. Ramos, yes or no? Vamos. Oh, man. So the rumor actually popped up yesterday that Ramos will accept any team in Serie A and a lot of teams across Europe because he wants to get back into Europe because he wants to make a push for the World Cup again. Look, I feel a certain way about our defenders right now that we have on this roster. And I've always said I can't stand Ramos, but I respected Ramos' game and the way he played and who he is. But it's right now it's kind of like a no. But there's a ton of saying yes, no brainer, because you know I could see it, but like,
Al, I'm so happy you've come to reason. This is so good. I'm very proud of you.
no, not really, Cliff, because if it's a finish the year out deal, like maybe.
But you said
Devil's
no,
always
though.
in the details, Cliff. You got to learn that, man. Devil's in the details. Juve's not in a position. We don't worry about relationships. We don't worry about emotional shit. We got to take care of business. Would Ramos be better than Gatti?
No, absolutely not. Gotti's the best. What are you talking
Would Ramos be better than Kelly?
No, Lord Kelly. No way he's better than him.
Fucking hell, man. Cliff is just jumping off a cliff right now with takes. So Cliff said no. I'm a maybe. Paulo.
He's like a walking Tay, that guy. So I'm not a fan at all, but if you had, like, if there was details where you just pay a couple of lire for the rest of the year as backup, a guy off the bench, especially if Bremer's on and off the field, you could have him there.
If it was solely for the
just in case,
how to
right?
antagonize your opponents and be a prick and get in their heads lesson, even just to have a teacher for that, okay.
We already have Gatti. We already have Gatti to do that. You put him and Ramos in a room
Gatti's
together,
not
he's going to be even
fucking-
worse.
Not even in the same realm of that when you're talking about Ramos and getting under players' skin.
This is true.
Gatti's not even on the same level, man. Not even in the same discussion.
I just think
Gatti's-
Ramos is past it.
Gatti can't even fucking...
Probably.
Jesus Christ, man. That guy is pissing me off this year.
I could see
Pissing me
Ramo
off
getting
this year.
caught and giving up a PK in his first game in like
Who do
the
you
first
think-
20 minutes.
Well, whatever. It's either that or the bullshit errors we have now conceding goals, so whatever. Hurt somebody, go through somebody, set the tone, be a prick, get in their head so they can do some damage. Let's go.
The details, Bert, the details.
Devil's always in the details. Who do you think we will sign in the Mercado? Any big names in January? No.
I think we're broke.
Nothing in January. Not big. Nothing big. No.
Somebody thinks Mbappe's coming. Who knows? Maybe Mbappe will come save us.
Yeah, Vinny's going to leave Madrid. We're going to pick him up in January.
Yeah.
Oh. In January, which three realist guys?
There's
Jat,
no
man,
shot
I'm
we get
telling
3
you.
players in.
You know, I had to laugh at Kamoli already setting the tone, saying, guys, we can't do what Juntali did in January. Juntali did loans, man. He's acting like Juntali went out and bought all these guys in January. Just loans. We can do loans, but I don't see anything big happening, man. Will they get somebody experienced? Are they even
Maybe.
valuing experienced players? The guys that have been popping up last summer, they didn't show any interest in. Are there any experienced guys that are available this winter? Yes, Sergio Ramos, Verratti, potentially. Milinkovic-Savic, potentially. But do I see us making a move on any of these guys? Maybe. But again, we would need the terms to line up with us right now, and I'm not confident that those will for like an actual marquee name sign.
If the financials were there, Sergei Milinkovic-Savic would be a no-brainer if the financials were there, in my opinion.
I don't think so. I don't see it, man. I don't see it.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean, I'll be quite honest too. Like, that guy pisses me off. He was late when the rumors came for Juve. And even at that, before that time, he showed low ambition, sticking around with Lazio there. Mm-hmm. And then that whole move and then jumping and going over there, you're done, man. Low ambition player. Vanja has more ambition than he does, and that's saying a lot. But I think he extended anyways. I think Milinkovic-Savic extended where he's at. So I don't see it, you guys. I don't see it. If you had to take your pick over these guys that are all listed, who do you think makes the biggest difference? Those are probably the only like marquee names available this January. Ramos, Verratti, Milinkovic-Savic. If you had to pick out of those three, who's your pick to help this Juve?
SMS. Yeah.
SMS? Paolo?
Yeah, I think so.
Verratti
for me. I'd go with Verratti. I'd take that shot over Ramos and over Milinkovic-Savic in a heartbeat.
Ramos is dead last on my list. I would take anybody before him.
No, I'd take Ramos over Milinkovic-Savic for sure. But
really?
Yeah. It would be Verratti, Ramos, and then Milinkovic-Savic for me personally. And I've always hated Milinkovic-Savic's stupid mustache when he gets that thing with the stupid little girl. So fuck.
I had a mustache yesterday. I'm really happy I shaved it off.
Well, now you're going to grow until we get 5 consecutive convincing victories. There you go. Cliff's bringing back the stash. You guys, let's see what Juve's got in store for us. Obviously, the news is right around keeping eyes on Dusan Vlahovic. I'll give you the last just little bit of headlines. Apparently for Palestra, Juve is amongst several sides, Inter and Napoli all in there watching this player. Atalanta has already turned down an offer of 18 million euros for the players. We'll see what happens there. Here's an interesting name that we didn't just talk about. Muharemovic in January. Bologna are a team that have also expressed interest in this defender. We have 50% resale on this defender. This is something I think Juve should look at as a little bit of help in a deal that you can actually afford and get done in January. Man, Muharemovic would be a nice one. I just don't think that they're going to say goodbye in January, to be honest. I think it'd be a really, really strange situation to see that team say goodbye. Dusan Vlahovic, all eyes on his medical examination and what comes out of it. But yeah, that's really where we stand right now, waiting for that Vlahovic report. You guys, we'll keep you up to date on the news. Paolo, Cliff, absolute pleasure, gents. A lot of fun today. And I like the arguments. I like the debates there. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Army, you guys are the best. Second to none. All right. Again, congrats to Jammers Bianconeri on winning the kit yesterday. And this week, we will give away November's kits for our regular subscribers and then, of course, our members that are in the Legends tier. Good luck, everybody. And as always, the K, yeah.
How does it?
It's terrible. This is a terrible celebration. It's terrible. You guys.
I think I just broke my eye.
The hell are we talking about? All right. Yildiz, get a better Sally, brother. Get a better Sally. You deserve it. Get a better Sally. And not Spider-Man, okay? Come on. Stop it. Stop it. You guys, have fun. Enjoy the rest of your weekends. We'll see you soon. Fino alla fine. Forza Juventus. Ciao tutti.